Join me as I explain my journey of taking on the challenge of breaking free from my toxic relationship and reclaiming my life. Hi everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I am sharing a deeply personal story with you. So it's my journey of escaping a toxic, narcissistic, codependent relationship. It wasn't easy, but I believe that by sharing this, I think I can help someone out there who's going through a similar struggle. Let's dive into it. In 2019, I found myself in a relationship with someone who was deeply narcissistic. When COVID hit and lockdowns began, things quickly spiraled out of control. Out of control. We were spending almost every waking moment together, and the toxicity in our relationship became impossible to ignore. The constant gaslighting made me doubt my own sanity. It really did, and I can admit that. My ex-partner would twist my words, make me question my memories. He would make me question my sanity. Pretty much blame me for every single argument that ever existed. So I felt like I was walking on eggshells, trying to avoid just triggering another explosive outburst. But it wasn't just emotional manipulation. It was psychological warfare. My ex used to guilt trip me, would give me the silent treatments, just emotional blackmail to keep me in line, pretty much. He made me feel responsible for his happiness, which made me lose myself in the process. Despite we weren't actually living together, but I was more like staying with him for every day, but I still had stuff at my apartment. So every single time I would try to go home to get my stuff, it was this giant argument. It was like hell. So now I know somebody can relate to this. I know that somebody can relate to this, and I really don't want to go back in time, in the past, but I just know that by bringing awareness that people are like this, that I can definitely help somebody, because I was like in the dark. I knew people could be bad, but I didn't know it can get to this level. Pretty much, and the longer that I stayed, the more I realized how unhealthy the relationship actually was. I'm dependent, convincing myself that I needed this person. Pretty much, he made me feel like I was lucky to have him, that he was the best thing that I could ever get. But deep was wrong, very wrong. My intuition was going crazy. So it was going crazy, but I was just ignoring it because I had self-worth and low self-esteem, that I didn't trust myself. I didn't trust my inner guidance system, which we all have one. We just need to learn how to tap into it. Because I remember specifically there being times where just even if things were fine, it's just something wasn't sitting right. It was just something felt off. It didn't feel right. I don't know. It's if you know, you know. If you know, you know. My intuition was screaming at me to leave, but my insecurities were holding me back. And I had unresolved attachment wounds, which only made things worse. I was trapped in an anxious avoidance cycle, constantly torn between clinging to a relationship and wanting to just run. So let me break down these attachment styles for you. There's 4. There's one is secure, 3 are insecure, right? So we have secure, anxious, preoccupied. We have dismissive, avoidant, and a fearful avoidant. So most of us with insecure attachment styles tend to gravitate towards toxic people and toxic relationships. And it doesn't have to only be romantic relationships. This can be platonic relationships too. This can be your friends, your boss, your cousin, your brother, your sister, things like that. Your mother. It doesn't necessarily have to be a significant other. So that's something to keep in mind. it comes from childhood. It comes from how we were raised and how we were cared for in our first years. Here's the thing. If you're in a relationship where you don't feel valued, respected, loved, you deserve so much more. And there's somebody out there that will give it to you. I know it's not easy to leave. I get it. Especially when you're married, if you have kids with the person or you're relying on the person financially. Fear of being alone can be paralyzing. But imagine everything that could change for the better if you do take that leap. So think about that. The pivotal moment for me came during one of our worst arguments. There was a lot, but it was pretty brutal. And I realized I had two choices. Stay and risk losing myself completely. Like I had no idea who I was. Or leave and try to reclaim my life. Try to figure out who I am. So I chose to leave. And it was the hardest, but best decision that I have ever made. It wasn't easy. And I had to confront a lot of fears in the process. A lot of fears. My doubts and my insecurities. But I knew deep down that I had to do it for my own sanity. My own identity. The moment I walked away, I felt an overwhelming sense of relief. It was like a liberation. You know, it was like a weight. A weight had been lifted off of my shoulders and I could finally breathe again. It was so nice. Yep. So after leaving that relationship, I spent some time single, trying to figure out who the heck I was. Like, who am I? I had always been with my ex, and I had never had a true sense of self. Before meeting him, we weren't really together for that long, to be honest. It was like a little over a year, so it really wasn't that long, but still. That any type of abuse is traumatic, no matter how long it can be. For even one instance can be traumatic for somebody. So there's no telling. Time means nothing. Time really means nothing. So yeah, like I said, I spent some time single trying to figure out who I was, and I had always been with him. And so before that, I had issues with addiction, and I had to go away for a little while to heal. And so when I got back, I was free. I was free from the addiction. Well, not free, but it wasn't like at rock bottom. But I never really got to the root cause, right? Of why. Why did I go that route? Why did I even turn to that in the first place? My self-worth was at an all-time low, right? And I really didn't feel like I was worthy of respect. I didn't realize this fully until I was in that relationship. And I believe that I was in that situation so I can heal those traumas. Because if I wasn't, that's why I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful because I learned a lot of lessons. I learned a lot of life lessons during that time. And it made me very resilient. I was such a people pleaser, and now I know how to say no. So yeah, it's very liberating. And during this time, a therapist told me I was a people pleaser, like I just mentioned. I knew this about myself, but I was never actually, like I said, I was never guided on how to actually heal from it. How do what do you do? So when COVID hit, there was a lot of downtime. And I used that time to watch videos, listen to podcasts, read, and I even returned to complete my education, which I didn't complete it yet, but I did return. And I am more than halfway through my bachelor's of psychology. So I believe if COVID never happened, honestly, I might have never gotten the guts to leave. The knowledge and the education that I gained during that lockdown, it gave me the strength to sayonara, to go. I knew I had to get away before something really bad happened. I was being emotionally abused, and because my ex never physically hurt me, he believed it wasn't abuse. But we all know it was. I remember one time when he physically forced me out of his apartment because his friend was over, and he accused me of liking his friend. And he was so damn insecure, and so, I mean, I was too, though. So you attract what we are. We attract what we are. After healing and learning to love myself, I finally felt worthy and deserving of love. And I was ready to get back out there. But little did I know that the universe had someone special planned for me. Right? So I have been consuming a lot of manifestation content and learning about the laws of attraction, all that. The laws of vibration, the law of assumption, etc., etc. There's like so many laws. We can get into that in another video. I was advised to script my desires. I absolutely love journaling, and I highly recommend it. I do. It's very therapeutic. So I wrote in my journal a list of traits that I wanted in my specific person. Because I was trying to call in what I wanted. I'm trying to manifest. You need to put the feeling and emotion into it, or else it's more like toxic positivity. So I made the list in April 2021. Now by July 2021, I was on a dating app. I wasn't taking it too seriously, and I wasn't talking to anybody like that at the time because I was still healing, and I just wanted to see what fish were out there. I was like bored and whatever the case may be. I received a message from a guy. I wasn't taking anything seriously with that. I went on when I was bored or lonely. Then, on July 4th, 2021, I got a message from someone who was super cute. I was intrigued, but again, I was just browsing, right? I wasn't looking at that time. It wasn't a big deal at first. Well, actually, I was looking, but I wasn't taking it seriously. Anyway, I was on a dating app and it worked out perfect. So this man pursued me the way a man should. It really wasn't a big deal at first, but he messaged me. I didn't reply. I left him unread. And then he messaged me again with like some little emoji, like the eye emoji or something. And I don't know, somehow it broke the ice and we started talking. So at this time, I was staying with my mom because she has a house in New Jersey and works in New York, right? So we switched living situations. She stayed in my apartment to make her commute easier, and I was able to get away. I was able to get out of New York, which I needed to get out because I had to get away from New York and away from my ex who was stalking me. Because he was now stalking me. He was calling me from different numbers, apps, everything. I wanted nothing to do with him, right? So by October 2020, after I broke up with him, I was friends with someone who helped me find my apartment in April of 2021. It turned out that her husband was a severe narcissist as well. So I lived below them, they lived above me. And I had to deal with constant screaming and crying. And, they had kids, which the kids, they were amazing. I love kids. I would never say anything bad about children. It was just the parents sucked. So, fortunately, because of COVID, I was laid off and I was receiving unemployment, which truly helped my healing journey because I had income, coming in, and I also had time to myself where I was able to work on myself. I was burned pretty badly by those so-called friends during this time. So this was after April of 2021. I'm not going to get too into that, honestly, because that's just really not important. It's about the message. But just know I did learn a lot of hard lessons in 2020 and 2021. I needed to get away, so I went to stay in my mom's house in New Jersey. I started to really enjoy it here. I finally felt peace. I felt safe. My ex was finally not able to find me or hurt me anymore. I was finally free, but the trauma was still there, and it was time to heal. Looking back, I realized that escaping my toxic relationship and taking the time to heal, it was one of the most challenging yet empowering experience of my life. It taught me that my worth isn't defined by someone else's behavior, and that I am stronger. I'm stronger and more deserving of love than I have ever imagined. It's true. I never believed that before. I think blessing in disguise. You get those hard lessons, and they're actually blessings. So if you're in a relationship that sounds anything like this, I want you to know that you're not alone. You are not alone. You deserve happiness. You deserve love. You deserve respect. If you found this video helpful, please like the video, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more content on personal growth and healing. And honestly, if you'd like to share your own story, I think it's a great idea, because when you share your story, it helps. It's like a release. It's very therapeutic. Just like I said before, with journaling, it's like a release. So even if you just talk to yourself in your camera, or you talk to a friend, or don't trauma dump though. Don't trauma dump. Or maybe get a therapist. I know it's very hard right now these days because they're very expensive, and only rich people can afford therapists these days, it seems like. Or unless you have some really good health insurance. But yeah, let's support each other in this journey of healing. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.